talk about some beginning technique. That just has to do with like the way that your body and the piano interact. Because there's all kinds, like there's chords and there's scales and there's all the notes that we play, but just putting your body at the piano the right way can really help out. So probably the first thing to do is you want to make sure that you are sitting kind of towards the middle of the piano. Now let me show you on here, we can see, there we go. This note right here is at about the middle of the piano. It's called middle C, not because it's in the middle of the piano, because it's the middle of the staves, which is something you learn about in a different class. But for right now, this note right here, the one that's below a group of 2 black notes, that's right like in the middle-ish of the piano, that's called middle C. And you kind of want to line your nose up with that when you sit here so that your right hand is taking up about half of the piano and your left hand is taking up about half the piano. Actually, the middle point of the piano is like right in this range right here. But this note right here is going to be an important note, and you want your right hand to be able to take care of pretty much all of these notes and your left hand to be able to take care of all of these notes. So just sitting at the piano with your nose right here will line it up so that your right hand can do its job and your left hand can do its job. The other thing you want to make sure is that when you're sitting at the piano, you are, if at all possible, your feet are flat on something. Preferably the ground, but if you can't reach the ground, maybe you want to stack some books underneath your feet so that they can just like rest comfortably and your legs can be pretty much straight underneath the piano. So you want to sit with your feet flat on the ground, your nose kind of lined up with this right here. Probably sitting up straight. That's not just because of piano, but that's because of everything. You want to make sure that you're using good posture when you play. You'll lean in and hunch over and stuff during different parts of different songs. But you want to start by sitting up straight. Like on my chair, my chair doesn't have a back here, so I'm never tempted to like lean back in my chair or anything. So sitting up pretty straight with your nose pointed at this note right here, this one that's called middle C. Oops, not there. Lined up with this middle C right here. So your right hand can take over the right hand, your left hand can take over the left part. And then your feet planted flatly on either some books or the ground or something, so your legs are kind of straight-ish. And then you also want your arms to be kind of straight-ish as well. So this arm right here should be relatively straight. It should not be coming down like here. If my arm is angled down like that, that means I'm sitting up too high or that my elbow's too high. So we want this pretty much like straight over and flat, and you can see that the bottom of my palm right here is pretty much level with those keys right there. So my palm isn't up here, and I'm not like poking down at the nose. But you also don't want to be way down here where you're like having to do weird stuff with the muscles in your hands. That'll end up hurting your hand muscles and stuff. So the bottom of your hand should be pretty much lined up with those keys. Like if those keys came flat out, that your hand would just be resting right there. And in general, this is something that a lot of teachers get really picky about. I'm not super picky about it, but your finger should usually be curved. So if you see your finger doing that thing right there, where it like curves in, that's usually not good. So you want to keep your fingers pretty curved like that. I'm trying to get my other fingers out of the way so you can see. But in most cases, your hand's just supposed to stay up there the whole time like that. So I'd play that note like that instead of bending it in like that. If your fingers are collapsing in, that's usually not a good sign, and it also means that you can't be in control of the sound. So when you're playing, you're gonna make sure that your fingers are curved, that the bottom of the palm of your hand is pretty much flat right here, and then the rest of the technique usually has to do with the way that you tuck your fingers. So let's take a look at that. When we're playing, and we are going really high or really low, we run into the problem of having 88 keys that we're supposed to be playing and only having 5 fingers in each hand. So if I have something that goes like this, if I'm supposed to play those 8 notes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, this thing that I did at the end, like even if you close your eyes and listen, just close your eyes, listen. You could hear those last 3 were like not as good as the first ones. They weren't even connected or anything. So it sounded like da 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 at the end. And that's because of the technique that I'm using right there. The technique is that I get to the end of my hand and I just what I call trail my pinky. I just use my pinky for every single note after that. And it sounds disconnected and weird. So in order to fix that, what we want to do is use your thumb. Your thumb is the only finger that's allowed to tuck under or cross over any other finger. So if we're going to play this thing right here, and I want it to sound all smooth and connected, what I would usually do is somewhere in the first 2 to 3 fingers, I'm going to tuck my thumb underneath and smoothly take over. Watch this. So if I play like 1, 2, 3. Now, at some point, like if I get up to here, my pinky, and then I try to tuck my thumb under, it's got to go a long, 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 long way. That would kind of work, except it's just longer than what I want to have to tuck my thumb under for, because it's trying to reach all the way past all the rest of my fingers to tuck under. But like I could tuck under those fingers pretty easily. So I'd say after my middle finger here, I'm going to tuck my thumb under and play that next note with my thumb, and then I can play the rest of those notes, and I don't have to trail that pinky all the way. Now if you close your eyes and you listen, you can't even tell where I'm tucking. Listen again. That time I did a totally different technique. I just switched every other finger. Tuck, tuck. But it just sounds really smooth. Like if you close your eyes, you can't tell what my fingers are doing at all, which is what you want it to sound like. You want to make sure that you're making sounds on purpose because that's the way you want it to sound, instead of making sounds just like however your hands make those sounds come out. So sadly, the lesson preview has come to an end, and it's time to say goodbye to everyone watching the free streams. Of course, paying subscribers at learnpianolive.com can continue watching this lesson and several hundred others like it in the archives. So come on over and check us out. And if you like what you saw, at least like and subscribe, and then tell your friends to head on over to learnpianolive.com to start enjoying this journey with us.